Thank you for visiting me on YouTube. Let's throw out the liberal bias and the conservative bias for a second, and let's look at ratings. Fox News is America's most watched network, and MSNBC is one of the fastest growing cable news outlets. MSNBC appeals more to liberal viewers. Fox News appeals to more conservative viewers. CNN appeals to more conservative but independent leaning, and it does have a left stance on issues. But all the news media is in it for ratings. It's nothing about partisan bickering and partisan bias. It's about basically ratings. What appeals to the viewer? MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN appeal to viewers. Whether you like them or not, it's going to still be around. Let us continue. Over the past couple of months, Keith Olbermann and Chris Matthews have been covering the campaign. When they were doing the Denver Democratic National Convention, they got into some on-air arguments in front of some of the congressmen and in front of some of the supporters of Obama and McCain. The whole thing with that was that most of the Republicans felt very uncomfortable with the way that Keith Olbermann was covering President Bush and Senator John McCain, as well as the newcomer Sarah Palin, the vice presidential pick. MSNBC is the largest cable network right now because their ratings are starting to climb up, and it's starting to put competition among most of the other cable news outlets like CNN and Fox News. With being more appealing to more liberal viewers, and the addition of Rachel Maddow, an Air America radio announcer and talk show host, the whole thing with MSNBC is that for far too long, Republicans decried that channel as being partisan, being liberal bias. And with the on-air arguments and all the controversial comments from Keith Olbermann as well as Chris Matthews, MSNBC had to let them go from the Democratic and Republican convention coverage, and also took them away from the presidential debates and also the election. So basically, Keith Olbermann and Chris Matthews will be analysis, but they will not be sitting in the anchor chair. They let David Gregory do the anchoring from this point. And at the Republican National Convention, Sarah Palin and the Republicans were chanting NBC, NBC, NBC because they are very upset at the way NBC has been covering the Republicans. But on the other hand, the Democrats had their problem with Fox News. Carl Cameron had written a story saying that the Democratic National Convention had left over 12,000 flags to be discarded. The McCain campaign picked up on the story, and the Drudge report picked up on the story, and then they've been spreading it around for the last couple of days. It had to been pulled after members of the Democratic National Committee had made a statement saying that this is a false story. This has nothing to do with the real issues facing Americans. Well, after all, it did catch the fire of most of the conservatives in talk radio, so they've been spitting it out for a couple of weeks now. The whole thing is that the Democratic National Convention is very shaky with Fox right now because of the partisan coverage from most of the conservative commentators. The Obama campaign had to ice it out with Fox News for the last couple of years, and they just loosened up a little bit with Fox after Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes had an underhanded deal with the Obama campaign to say, look, we'll give you a break for a moment, but we're not going to stop them from attacking you. But if you come on our show, we promise we will try to be not so critical of you. Well, Obama agreed to it, and he's got to sit down with Bill O'Reilly, which helped Bill O'Reilly attract over 7 million viewers every night that Obama's been seen. Overall, I think that the Obama campaign did a smart move to go on Fox, but I think it's pretty much a disappointment to me because I wanted him to continue to boycott Fox. I think that the McCain campaign should go after MSNBC also, because if they're going to continuously hammer on Sarah Palin and McCain and not give them a chance to understand what the people think about them, then I think they should boycott them. So, that's my opinion, honestly. But the whole thing with Carl Cameron, on the other hand, with the Democratic National Party, the whole thing with Carl Cameron is he fabricates stories. He fabricated the John Kerry story about John Kerry doing manicures and saying that he's a metrosexual and George Bush was the cowboy. He had to apologize to that. In the Robert Greenwald film, Out Fox, it was revealed that Carl Cameron's wife worked with the Bush campaign in 2000 and 2004, so he was just gleefully talking to President Bush before he did a real serious interview. Let me think here. I just want to come to the conclusion here about how the media has been covering these candidates. I mean, not everybody's going to like how they've been covering candidates. I mean, Bill O'Reilly's hated by the left. Keith Olbermann's hated by the right. Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh, Stephanie Miller, Randy Rose, Ed Schultz. It all goes one and the same. I mean, you're going to like them or hate them. They're still making millions of dollars to talk on television or on radio. You can't stop it. But I ask you people just to take them for entertainment value and not take them seriously. Because if you take them seriously, they'll try to control your voice, they're going to control your judgment, and they're going to control your vote. So I don't want you to get caught up in the partisan bias from each side of the political spectrum. The Obama campaign is doing their best, and the McCain campaign is doing their best. They're a diverse group of people now. You see that the McCain campaign has nominated a woman to be his running mate, and the Democratic Party has allowed an African American to be the first candidate to lead the national party into the general election. Let's give it a chance to give people to understand what's going on with the Obama campaign and with the McCain campaign. I try not to be partisan when I explain this. I just wanted you to realize that corporate-owned media does it for ratings. They're not doing it because of political bias. It's for ratings. What appeals to the viewer? Still, if you go to wearechange.org, you can see some of the videos about what happened with Carl Cameron and the Ron Paul supporters, as well as the Truth Movement by Alex Jones. Carl Cameron was shaking in his boots after he got involved with his little so-called snarky remarks about 9/11 truthers being a bunch of fringe radicalists. Actually, I really think Carl Cameron's unqualified as a journalist. I mean, I could say a lot about Chris Matthews being unqualified as a journalist, but at least Chris Matthews has at least decent ratings compared to some guy just running up to the Obama campaign trying to ask them questions about Jeremiah Wright. I mean, that's what Carl Cameron does. He fabricates. Chris Matthews just throws it in your face. So, there you go. That's what I say about the media. It's all about ratings. It's not about political bias. It's ratings.